All right, welcome to part 3, and I actually don't have that many decks left that I want to show you. So one of them is the 78 Astral Tarot. It's the collab deck. There's a bunch of 78 tarot decks, and I absolutely love these. And the Astral Tarot, it's my favorite in general, but it was also just a favorite this year. I tend to use this one the very most of all of my, I think I have all of the 78 tarots except for maybe 1 or 2 decks. Maybe only 1 I don't have, but I do love these. This one was so fun this year, and I used it a ton and really enjoyed it. I just thought this was such a fun deck. And if you don't like collab decks, you might not enjoy these. So these are usually Kickstarters, and they are limited edition runs, and then they'll make a certain amount of them for Kickstarter. Sometimes they have a few extras, and then they go out of print. And sometimes you can get them after if they didn't sell out. And I've seen this one around a lot, used on the trade sites and stuff, but it's a very fun deck. I actually like all these, but for whatever reason, this one is just my favorite, and it's the one I used the most this year. I love this card, this Justice card. I just think it's beautiful. Oh, but it's just a fun deck, and I like some collage decks quite a bit, and I have quite a few of them. But sometimes they don't work for me, but this one works for me. This card is just whack. And fits in kind of weird, but still fits into the deck. Anyway, this is 78 Tarot, 78 Astral. And you would have to find it used at this point. So this was a fun deck for me this year. And I enjoy this one in general. Okay, next deck that I used a lot this year and really enjoyed. This one was out of print. It is now back in print. It is the Wheel of Change Tarot, and it's by Alexandra Ganetti. And she is, or was, a Waldorf teacher, and all my kids went through Waldorf school in Kona, so this has been around the whole Waldorf community for forever, and was available on her website, went out of print, came back into print. You can get it now on her website, and I think this is the old version. I think the new one has different backs, but I think the deck is exactly the same, because when my friends got it, and I don't think they made any changes to it, I think they just reprinted it, so it is totally available now. This is a very powerful deck, very well thought out, and has some pretty deep meanings, and is very enjoyable for me, but I have to be in a mood to want to do something when I use this deck, because it is kind of an activist deck. I didn't ask you to make some changes like that. And this is a Toth-based deck. She was a fan of Crowley's, and you know, like some of the titles are still RWS titles, but it was based on the Toth deck. And that's the deck that she read with. Kind of as everybody that's in that older generation, you will see, has mostly read with the Crowley deck, the Thoth deck. The younger generation often seems like it reads more with the RWS decks. And then I think everybody kind of reads with the Marseille deck. Maybe not when people start, but it seems like there's a lot of new amazing Marseille decks. Look at that High Priestess coming out nowadays. Anyway, this is a beautiful deck, one with a lot of meaning, one that asks you always to take action. That's the Wheel of Change Tarot, and I keep it in this little piggy bag. All right, next, I'm going to show you some decks, one of which I use all the time, and they are all by Pixel Occult. This one is the one I use the most, which is the Wayward Dark. I've shown this a bunch, so I won't spend a ton of time on it. Comes in a 10. It's a beautiful deck. And this one is Thoth based. And it just has the Thoth titles. So I really enjoy the artwork. I like that it's kind of black and white with a little bit of blue. It's a great winter deck, but I use it all year round. It's a great deck, and I love Pixel Occult's art, so I tend to use their decks quite often. I'll show you a few more of their decks real quick. Anyway, lovely deck. If you like the art, it reads well. It's a workhorse deck for me. All right, and then this year, a new version of the Lost Holo came out, which I got very excited about because it has red gilding, and it's pretty soft, and it's okay. I mean, it's still gilding, but and it has red borders, and I just love the look of this deck with the red. Just think it's awesome. And this is an RWS base deck, but oh, how cool is it with the red? I just love it. And I'll quickly show you the Borderless version, which was the version before this. I think the Borderless version is maybe out of print now, though. But that's what it looks like, Borderless, which is still super cool, and the color palette's the same. But amazing. And then this one is really, really awesome. And here's the box for that one. And this is the Neon Moon. The cardstock on this one is different than their other decks. They mostly have linen cardstock. The Neon Moon has kind of thicker cardstock. I used this one a ton this year too. And I love the cyberpunk vibe of this deck. And I have quite a few cyberpunk decks, and this one's always a favorite. I love the color scheme. I love Pixel Occult's art. Totally cool star card. But this is mostly RWS based in this futuristic cyberpunk world. It's almost kind of current world. But well done, very fun deck. And it's something I am going to keep using next year because I have some specific purposes for it next year. I love this one. But anyway, I really enjoy this deck. I really enjoy all of Pixel Occult's decks. I think I have them all. I'll do a collection video on their decks, so I won't show them all today. Just show you the ones I've been using the most. Okay, next deck. Oh, and I got the bag for this separate because it just comes in the box, but I got the bag so I can just throw it in my purse and carry it around. It's just easier for me. All right. All right, next deck I'm going to show you is Tarot of the Crone, another Ellen Lorenzi Prince deck. I do have all of her decks. This one is very deep and powerful. I use it in my spiritual practice, and I absolutely love this one. It has a lot of meaning for me, and it's just a staple in my practice. And if I had to pick 10 decks, this would definitely be on the list. For me, it just is so meaningful. And I love it. It's different than anything else I have, and it depicts things in a really cool way that is a way that I believe. And it's really, really different, but it resonates for me. And I know it doesn't. It's not everybody's favorite, but I think most people like the artwork on it. But it's really a powerful deck. It is out of print, unfortunately. I still see it pop up, though. Super beautiful, super powerful. One time I had this all laid out on the counter, and I had every card laid out, and my husband walked into the kitchen because we have a huge table in the kitchen, and I had them all laid out on the kitchen table, and I was just doing a little project with it, and he even said, "Oh my gosh, I love that deck. It's so beautiful." And he thought it was really different, and it just hits you in a good way. So that is Tarot of the Crone, one of my favorite decks. All right, next deck I'll show you. Oops, put the title card back in there. And this is the boxed version. There is also a version that came in a black velvet bag. The cards are bigger in that one, so it's cool. Another one of my favorites, Serpent Fire Tarot. I sometimes take this with me when I travel. It's got a little guidebook. This version is not the current version of the deck. There's one in print right now. I think it's the last printing that is without these borders. So this is my Serpent Fire with the crazy borders. These borders are all the same color. There's also one that has different color borders like this. I think that's the first edition of the deck. There's a bunch of different versions, but I think this is a beautiful deck. And this year I used this version a lot. I always use this deck. I just use different versions different times. And this year it was this version. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen the Serpent Fire before, but it is a beautiful deck. Really enjoyable. All right, always a favorite, the Lioness Oracle Tarot. I've had this deck for a really long time, for a lot of years, and every year it's in my favorites. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I think the collage is done in an amazing way, and this was a deck done when Alejandra was grieving her father, and so it's got a lot of roses because that was part of the symbology she was using for that. It's by Alejandra Leon. She's from Oakland, California, which is a place that I spend a lot of time in because I have family down there. I took a class, I've actually taken a couple classes with her to talk about why she used certain things in the deck. So those were really interesting. I just think this deck is amazing and beautiful. I love it. I never get tired of it. I never get tired of the images. It reads really easy. It reads like an RWS. It's pretty easy to read it as a Thoth deck too, because it's open for interpretation. But I just think it's gorgeous. I think this one's still available. I have all her decks because I just love her art too. I love her collage style. I love collage decks, but I really enjoy this style of collage. I think it's really beautiful. There are a couple repeat cards, I think, in some of the decks. Look at the Emperor. Fool, Magician. Anyway, it's a wonderful deck. And I love it so much. All right, I've seen this a bunch, but my Witch's Tarot, I love it. It's the favorite all the time. Anyway, it is kind of one of those decks, though, that if I put it away for a while, I sort of forget about it until I get it back out, and then I fall in love with it all over again and want to use it all the time. But it's kind of funny how if I don't use it for a while, I kind of forget about it. I think this deck is beautiful. It's magical. And it has a lot of nudity. Anyway, I've showed this a bunch, so I won't spend a ton of time on it, but I really, really love it. It pairs really great with things. I found quite a few great pairings with this deck. Maybe sometime. I think I made a video with some pairings one time. Anyway, I love this deck. And right now I'm awaiting the Oracle by the same creator. And it looks like it's the same style art, so I'm super excited about that too. This one has a bunch of extra cards. I love the Maiden card. But I leave them in the deck most of the time. Celine. It's like a tarot oracle. You can, Coven, you can take them out and just use it as a regular tarot. But I use this card this deck a little bit Hecate differently than I use my other tarots. So the Crone, I end up thinking it's pretty powerful. You can use it for an everyday reader too, but the imaging's pretty deep. So, okay, that is the Witch's Tarot, and still available as far as I know, directly from the creator. I don't think you can get it anywhere else. That's the box. Okay, Slavic Legends is next. Oh my gosh, I got this deck this year. I think it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. I just couldn't believe. I waited for this one. I couldn't wait for it. I was so excited for it to come out. It was supposed to come out last year and it didn't. It finally came out. I was so excited because I had seen a card in one of my other decks by them. And it is, sorry, by Taroteca Studio. That's the full box. these are the backs. Got beautiful backs. Anyway, I had another Tarot Tech deck, and one of the cards from this deck, this one, the Death card, was in the deck, and I just couldn't wait. And then something else came out before this one. I didn't get it, but I just, when I saw the walkthrough, I was like, is it in there? And it didn't look like the same style, but then finally the pre-order, look at that, Temperance, came out for this. I love this deck. I have 2 copies of this because I got the gold shiny version and I got this matte black. So this one's the matte black version. This one shuffles. Amazing. Sometimes though, I love that Ten of Swords. I do enjoy using the glossy one. Anyway, I'm a big fan of this one. I think the art is gorgeous. And I don't know if the guidebook's out. They're doing a guidebook for it. I don't know if it's out. I need to find that out. The Moon card. I love it. Look at that devil. Crazy. Anyway, it's very fairy tale-esque, as you can tell. And I don't know these stories. But, oh man. I love using this deck. It just makes me happy when I use it. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen this around. But anyway, it remains a favorite of mine. It's got a really cool box. I like the way they did this. Just thought it looks like a little teeny storybook. All right. All right, next is a combo. It's Ithel Cahoon's Tarot is Color, and I got the guidebook first. It actually came out before the deck came out, and then I think maybe they were sold as a set for a while. And I think the deck is still available, but the guidebook is no longer available. But it's a good exploration into using color in the tarot. Anyway, there's some pictures of Ithel in here too. Yeah, right here. And that's from the 80s. Anyway, so that is the book, the guidebook for it. And then here is the deck. It does have a little guidebook in it too. So you can look and see what the card titles are. I think just I can't remember what's in the guidebook. Oh, maybe just the Seen All the Way Back, Seen All the Way Down. Some of the same stuff that's at the beginning. Anyway, this deck has the Thoth titles, and it is really, or the gold, I should say, the Golden Dawn titles. And it explores color in the tarot. So if you are wanting to use color and explore tarot through color, this is a great deck to do so. I think that the deck is still available. I'm pretty sure. I think they printed a lot of decks and less of the books. Because I think they still, last time somebody was asking, I think they still had a ton of decks left. And that was a bit ago, but I'm sure they still have decks left. Anyway, this is really, really beautiful, I think. Like Ada Disc, Lord of Prudence. On the Thoth, you would just see Prudence as the title, but the Golden Dawn titles are what this deck has. You could just get lost in these cards. So this has been fun. And it was also a deck I really was looking forward to and anticipating. And I got the book first, and I just knew that they had talked about printing the deck, but weren't sure they were going to do it. And then I was so excited, I pre-ordered the deck. But very happy to have this. And also just a big fan of Ithel. I think it's gorgeous. So that is the tarot as color. And I think this has been shown a lot. It's a big deck, by the way. Let me just grab something and show you. Here's normal, well, this is the Parrot Tarot, so it's a little bit smaller, but see, the cards are pretty darn big there. All right, next is a deck that I've had in my practice for a not a long time. I think I got this in 2018 or 19. So this is the old version of the deck. I think nowadays it comes in a boxed version, which I don't have. But this is the Ponic Tarot. And this I used quite a bit in spiritual practice. It was a comfort deck through the pandemic. So it got a lot of use in 2020. But I used it a lot the last few years too. And I'm still not tired of it. I still enjoy it. I think it's gorgeous. I love this art. It was out of print for maybe 2 years, I think. And then it came back into print in the box form this year. And I've showed this a bunch, so I won't show it a ton now. And I love using it, but it's pretty powerful. Look at that Hermit. It's a great winter deck. It's got a darkness to it. But this dark beauty. And it's definitely a dark feminine deck. Really, really gorgeous. So that is the Ponic Tarot. So I think this deck is listed under an Etsy shop called Raven in a World Tree. I don't think that's who, I don't think it was called that when I bought it, but I don't remember the name at this point. So anyway, Ponic Tarot now in a box and available. All right, next deck, Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. All right, that's the title card. This comes in a little box like that. US Games, those are the backs. This is a favorite every year of this deck. I love the art in this deck. I love the way this deck reads. It's a Thoth-based deck, which is my favorite. I don't know. I like the Thoth-based decks, and I like the Marseille decks. And I like I like all decks. But I learned to read on the Thoth, so it's easiest for me. And this is Thoth-based, so it reads the way I'm used to reading. The keywords are a little different, but that's okay. I love this deck. Just a fun deck. And it's colorful and enjoyable and wackadoodle, as it should be. Anyway, I use this one every year. It's gonna remain a favorite deck of mine. So that is Navigator Tarot of the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. It's a US Games deck. Still available. All right, next one, Transformational Tarot, Arnell Ondo. I showed this deck, the indie version, in my 54321. So you might have seen it there. I have both the indie and the mass market version. This is the mass market version. The cardstock is a little bit glossier and more plasticky, but it's still nice in the mass market version. And this just comes like that. It's US Games. The indie version can be a bit hard to find nowadays. Oh, you know what? I just realized I don't think I posted my 54321 video because I had shown too much of a book and I was worried about copyright and just showing too much of it. I need to refilm the book portion and post that because I don't think I actually posted it. Okay. I probably won't have time to do that before we leave because we're leaving at the beginning of January because we're trying to go back home for a little bit. And so I'll have to do it when I get back from my trip. I'm trying desperately to get all these done before the beginning of January so I can post them while I'm on vacation or while I'm over in Hawaii and home because I'll have time to edit over there. And I'm not going to bring a bunch of decks over there. Isn't that a beautiful Queen of Wands? And I still want to do my Oracle decks if I have time. But I may or may not get to that because it's getting past when I wanted to have these done at this point. And our trip is fast approaching. Anyway, this is a beautiful deck. It is done by Arnell Ondo, who does a really cool trip to Italy that you can see all the tarot sites in Italy. And this is well thought out. And a fun deck that I use every year and really enjoy. Okay, a fun one for me this year was Strange Beast Tarot. And I think it's really cute and really fun. I showed this one already in something. Anyway, I'm going to just briefly flip through it. I just get a kick out of this deck. It makes me happy to use it. I love the art in it. It makes me laugh and giggle. And it's so fun. And I really enjoy it. And I can't remember. I showed it not too long ago, actually. Isn't that sweet? Look at the Four of Wands. Anyway, it's charming. And just so cute. I love this deck so much. I'm so happy that I got it. It was a Kickstarter that I backed. And I'm just thrilled to death with it. When I got it, I opened it and I couldn't believe how much I liked it. Anyway, super, super cute. Super fun. Yay. And it's got these beautiful copper sides. Anyway, it pairs with a lot of things really great. And super, super happy with that deck. And that is The Strange, that's the box. Strange Beast Tarot. The box is gorgeous and beautiful. Okay, the Muse Tarot. This is a deck that I had it before, but I didn't use it that much. And then this year, I ended up going to a Chris Ann presentation at the Northwest Tarot Symposium. And then there's 2 Empress cards. And then I started using it a lot more and pairing it with things. And I ended up using the Light Seers a lot more, although this one more so this year. And part of it was how she talked about everything and how she had done her decks. But this is such a beautiful deck. It's such a creative deck. And I just love it. I don't know why it sort of fell off my radar for a while. It's mass market now. You can get the mass market version. It's really, really beautiful. Anyway, I just love and enjoy it. It's got some cards that are horizontal instead of vertical. I think it's the Kings. Look at that Queen. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's the Kings, which are the Muses in this deck. Anyway, I enjoy this deck and think it's really beautiful. I do have 2 copies of this one. One so I can travel with it. And this year I did travel with it a little bit. But it, you know, I didn't really start using it a ton until the last part of the year. Because this Newt's Northwest Tarot Symposium's at the end of September. Anyway, gorgeous deck. The Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. And I'm sure you guys have seen this, but it is, if it's fallen off your radar, it's a pretty fun deck. A big favorite of mine this year has been the Shadow Edition of the Moonchild. Look at the inside of the box. I did do a comparison. I'll try and link that below. This is the guidebook, which is just great. What a beautiful deck. This actually, there's the inside of the box and the back. This actually has kind of taken the place for me of the other Moonchild. I thought I would use them both together, but I actually am just ending up using this one almost exclusively now, and I am rarely using my other Moonchild. I'm so happy I got this. I really, really love this deck. And I've always used the Moonchild since it came out, and it's always been a big part of my practice. But something about the coloring and the shadowiness of this version, just, I don't know, I really like it. And the cardstock is always a little challenging because it's a little hard to shuffle, but I can still shuffle it. I can still riffle it. And if I can riffle, I'm pretty happy, but it is a bit thick. This one has some extra cards as the other one does. And the court cards are the same, but there's quite a few changes in it. And I do enjoy the changes. I've always loved Danielle Noel's artwork. It's stunning. It's just a really beautiful version of this deck. And I'm really, really happy with it. I really love it. I think I did some pairing videos. I think I posted those. I'll check. If I did, I'll post them down below. Because it pairs really great with things. Maybe I'll do some more. I just love this deck so much. Love that Knight of Cups. Oh, and I love this card. Just something about the coloring just made everything pop in a different way. Even cards that were the same. I love this Five of Pentacles. I probably would have bought the deck on that card alone. But the way that the shadowiness and the coloring is, it just, even when the images are the same, I like them more. I love it. I just love this deck. So that is the Shadow Moonchild, a gorgeous version of the Moonchild. Oh, and it's got the most beautiful edging. Look at, check this out. It's purple. It is starting to chip a little, I guess, but wow, how gorgeous is that? I'm trying to be careful with it so it doesn't totally chip. I can touch it up. Another deck that I wanted to show you is a very special deck. And I did get this deck in 2022, but I didn't play with it much in 2022. It is the Nameless one. I was a little bit intimidated by this deck. And so I saw Lisa Pepez's video, and she was just playing with it. And then she was playing with this during our, one of our lives that she was in. It does come with a bunch of extra cards, not from this deck, but from her other deck. And it comes with oracle cards. This is a Zia Hunt deck, by the way. Anyway, so this year I ended up just starting to study this, and I used it some too, but I've been studying it a lot, and I am loving using it now. It's a beautiful deck, and I love that there's sigils on it, because I've often used sigils in my practice, and the art is beautiful behind the sigils. So it's just really cool, and I am really enjoying this, and it's pairing great with some of my black background decks, and it's unique. Anyway, I will keep studying it, and I will keep playing with it in 2024. The court cards are kind of different there. And let me see if I have the guidebook that I can show you handy. Here's the guidebook. It's humongous, but it is really cool. And it has a lot of information in it. And I don't want to show too much, but it is really beautiful. So there's the guidebook that goes with it. And it has its own guidebook in it, so you don't have to get this big grimoire, but it's available as an add-on. Oops, sorry, I'm bouncing everything. Anyway, we'll put this away later. But it is a really great book. So you can get that if you want. And I think she was having a sale. I don't know if that's still on or not. I think it was after Thanksgiving, but it might be not be going on anymore because now it's past Christmas. Anyway, Nameless one, a very fun deck for this year and something that I plan on continuing to use. I think that's it. So, see ya.